everyone.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Well, it's really great to see so many familiar faces and also some new names from some new stakeholders. I believe as it's 10 a.m. and we're always short on time, it's good to just start with this webinar. So hello again, everyone. And really welcome to today's webinar on this topic of training and personalized support for NEETs. As you know, this webinar is being organized by the Employment Services of Slovenia as a part of the Interreg Europe at Work for NEETs project. This is our project that aims to improve youth employment policies and measures through good practice collections and mutual learning. And this international webinar is actually a really big part of this. And it's the third event from this project. And I really can't wait to get started. So I will just go on and share the agenda for today. We will be together until 11:15, something like that. We will start with a keynote speech from Mr. Massimiliano Mascherini. We will continue with the comparative report of this semester from the Interreg Europe project at Work for NEETs by Ms. Mateja Pačnik-Kolens. And then we will go on to the presentation of 4 best practices. So the practices that we have collected to be the best among the other amount of practices that Mateja will share with you. And we will also have a presentation of a NEETs for NEETs project, which will also give some added value to today's event. At the end, we will leave some questions for the audience. Before we move on and start with this event, I would just like to have 3 key observations that I have to point out. So one is, you have probably noticed we are recording the event. This is especially in the case that somebody will want to look at the webinar a bit later on. If you will have any questions, feel free to set them to the chat or also set them to the presenters at the end of their presentation. And also, of course, very importantly, we have a list of attendees, and we would like you to sign up for this list that will be linked in the chat. I believe Mateja will share the link in the chat with you. So please don't forget to sign in this attendance list. So let's now just move on to the first keynote speaker, Mr. Massimiliano Mascherini, who is the head of unit of social policies at Eurofound, the European Foundation for the Improvement of Living and Working Conditions. Massimiliano Mascherini actively contributed at the discussion for the design and implementation of the European Youth Guarantee. Basically, anyone who is interested in the topic of youth transitioning from education to the labor market, and especially NEETs, know him as the author of several super valuable publications on NEETs, on youth unemployment and youth labor market policies. He has also been the leading author of the publication NEET, Young People Not in Employment, Education and Training, so characteristic, cost and policy responses. Well, basically, we could say, as I have heard somebody already say, he's the guru on the topic of NEETs. So, Massimiliano, it is indeed an honor of hosting you at our webinar. Yeah, without further ado, this virtual floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Jana, and good morning, everyone. And I think I have never received a so flattering introduction to the meeting, actually. So I hope that to be up to the task, actually. But thanks a lot for your nice words, actually. And what I will do today, I will basically present a bit of everything that I've done in these years. So I will start sharing the presentation, and I hope that you can see it. Can you confirm you see the screen? Very good.
Yes.
Perfect. So talk around 15 minutes as per agreement. So basically, okay, NEETs in Europe, characteristics and consequences. So in my presentation, actually, I will talk. I will discuss why we are talking about NEETs, and then I will go back to the origin of the terms, because often we speak about NEETs, but we don't know from where it comes from. Actually, the concept. I will briefly describe the heterogeneity of NEET, and I will conclude about some words about economic and social. I have various materials, so I hope to be on time, and I will do my best to be. So basically, okay, NEETs. Clearly, there is a growing interest on NEETs. Actually, when I started to work on this topic, and was 2010, actually, only one article that year was published in scientific journal that had the acronym NEET. So basically, it was quite new in the field. And here you see basically the number of scientific papers that have NEETs in their title, actually. So till 2010, nothing, and then it starts and arrive to now, basically, where this is just a research that I did yesterday, some newspapers actually that quote NEETs, and is everywhere from the UK to Greece, Italy, Korea, United States, and so on. So there is a growing interest on NEETs, actually. But this growing interest, actually, what are the origins of the acronym NEETs, actually? And basically, I was discussing this in my conversation with Kelly Hoffman in the New York Times, actually, and we recently published this article. And basically, the acronym NEETs firstly emerged in the United Kingdom in the late 80s as an alternative way of categorizing young people aged 16 to 18 years old, actually. And this was due to a result of change in the UK unemployment benefit regime that basically withdrew the entitlement to income support of those young people that was aged 16 to 17. And in return to this, they were offering a youth training guarantee. So the age at that point was 16 and 17. But what happened is that not every young people actually accepted this youth training guarantee. So technically, the problem of youth unemployment and youth disengagement ceased to exist, but not the problem, actually, because there were this cohort that was then not anymore monitored from a statistical point of view of young people who were disengaged. So basically, let's say courageously founded by the South Glamorgan University, actually, in 1994, there was the first research attempting to investigate young people aged 16 to 17 who were not in employment, education, and training. And this was the report published in 1994 by Howard Williamson. And basically, in this report, we define NEETs as a status zero. Basically, status zero was a technical term that basically meant the categorization of the British public employment services. If you were status 1, you were in employment. If you were status 2, you were in education. If you were in status 0, you were nothing, not in employment and in education. However, as in the conclusion actually of the work, status 0 was said count for nothing and were going nowhere. And these were not clearly politically friendly words actually that make popular this term. So basically, instead of status 0, the University of South Glamorgan and Howard basically create a new study, and they call it status A in order to make it a bit more neutral. The thing is that the newspaper The Guardian basically titled the status A like abandoned, and so basically didn't work again because politically was not really so neutral. So we go back then, we arrive to 1999 when the term NEETs was firmly introduced at the political level in the UK. And this happened with the Bridging the Gap report, where a senior official of the UK government and author of the report said, okay, let's call it NEETs because it's more neutral, actually. And so this is why we have NEETs, but still referred to very young people. So from 1999, actually, then the term NEET rapidly gained importance beyond the UK, actually, and we have a similar but yet different definition in almost all the member states, Japan, New Zealand, Taiwan, Hong Kong, China, and so on, actually. So it goes everywhere, but with its own definition. There is not a common definition. What happened then to arrive to a common definition is that the term arrived in the UK debate, in the European Union debate, and entered in 2010, actually, when we started to work on NEETs. because if you remember, we were in the deep crisis of the financial crisis, and there were the risk of a lost generation. So researchers and government officials started to adopt new ways of estimating the prevalence of young people vulnerability. And for this reason, actually, we had NEETs, young people not in employment, education, nor training. There is sometimes written nor, sometimes written and, so there were a bit of confusion in the entire label. Okay, so we had this new indicator that was as a new way of categorizing young people, but it was not new, as we see. It started in the late 80s. So basically, when the term went in the policy debate in April 2010, the Employment Committee of the European Commission and this indicator group actually agreed on the definition of who are young people not in employment, education, and training, and basically gave mandate to Eurostat to operationalize it with an indicator. And this is the indicator that we know, the NEET rate, that is the number of people not in employment, education, and training, computed with the 3 questions of the labor force survey on the total of young people population. So this is the indicator actually, and so everyone that is regardless the educational level, not in employment, education, and training. There is an age with a question mark because we started in the UK with the 16-17 when it was first presented at the European Union level. In 2010, the age category was 15 to 24. Then it has changed, and now we are talking about NEET 15-29 or 20-29 or even 15-34, actually, depends on the country, because the definition of NEETs, basically, the definition, I don't know why it's moving by itself, actually, but the definition of NEETs, the definition of youth actually change among the different countries. In the Nordic countries, you are young, you cease to be young if you are 21. In our countries, like Italy, you can find policies for youth employment that include people aged 39. So anyway, there is a difference actually in this. At the political level, it first appeared in 2010, then with the Youth on the Move initiatives for reintegrating young people who are NEETs, and then is a constant crescendo. There is the Youth Opportunity Initiative, the Youth Guarantee, and then the European Pillar of Social Rights in 2017, actually, and is always there, with the 2020 reinforced youth guarantee. So it will become a steady part of youth policies. Now, this is the indicators, but who are young people who are not in employment, education, and training? And we know is a great heterogeneity of young people. When we started to talk at the policy level of NEETs, policymakers thought they were these, actually, the people who are disengaged. But we know now, finally, that is a galaxy of young people. We have youth unemployed. We have young mothers that, voluntary or not, are not in employment, education, and training. We have the disengaged, unfortunately. But we have also another group that are the most privileged, that basically are pursuing a different career, and they can basically hold for an opportunity for various reasons. So it is a galaxy of vulnerable for the great part, but there is also a part that is not vulnerable, who are not in employment, education, and training. So regardless the level of vulnerability, they are all in a status of not accumulating human capital through formal channels. They are more likely to accumulate several disadvantages. They are more likely to experience future poor employment outcome, actually, because current unemployment is the best predictor of future unemployment. And then they are more likely to follow dangerous lifestyle, to experience mental and physical health, and basically to remain in the welfare system forever, basically. So these are the NEETs, actually. How many NEETs there are now in Europe? Well, now there are much less NEET than in 2013, for sure. And luckily, actually, now we have the 11.2% of young people who are NEETs. We have a prevalence of women, 12.5% versus the 10.1%. And overall is 8 million of young people who are not in employment, education, and training. So much less than in the past, when in 2012, 2013, we were around more than 14 million of young people who were NEETs, actually. So we had a steady decrease of the NEETs population. We had a bump for COVID, but this was reabsorbed, and the crisis of COVID was quite short in comparison to the 2013 crisis, actually. Now, at the member state level, we know actually, and you know more than me because you are basically working on this, we have a huge differences among the share of NEETs in the member states. We move from Romania and Italy that are, and Greece, that the population of NEETs is above 15%, to the Netherlands that is lower than 5%. So you have really many different situations among our member states actually in this regard, and you see that Croatia actually is above 12%, more or less. So this is at the member state level, actually. What we saw, and we talk a bit about upward convergence. Basically, upward convergence is a term that was introduced with the European Pillar of Social Rights. Basically, it means improving our performance at European level while decreasing the disparities among member states. And if you take the NEET indicator, we can see that since 2013 is a history of upward convergence. So it's very positive because disparities among member states decrease overall, but especially with the catching up effect of least performing countries to the best performing countries, and this is the case, for example, of Italy, Greece, and Romania. And basically, we are more similar. So not only at the European Union average, the rate decrease, but we are more similar in terms of on its rate. Now, few words actually on this. I mean, I said that basically all there is a huge heterogeneity of young people that were NEETs, and this is true. But there are common factors that increase the probability of becoming NEETs. One that are both at the family and at the individual level. At the individual level, basically having a low educational level increase of 3 times the probability of becoming NEETs, as well as having immigration background and suffering disability. And then young women are more likely actually to be NEETs more than young men. At the level of the family, still the low educational level of parents play a role actually, as well as the difficult biography of family life. So coming from a poor, I don't know why it's moved by itself actually, but my presentation apparently is yeah, it's moved independently. It's possessed actually, but we have a low families that have a low household income, divorced parents, and parents that experience unemployment actually when the child was young. So difficult biography of family lives increase the probability of becoming NEETs. Now we see that there is a huge heterogeneity in the NEET indicator. So I think it's very good that policymakers has put NEET as a policy target, actually, as per the youth guarantee. But because going beyond unemployment and encompassing also all other groups that are inactive, basically put also this other group at the center of the policy agenda. So basically there are political willingness to design policies also for those who are inactive, not just the unemployed. However, while they are right to set the reduction of NEETs, actually, it is important to understand that the population of NEETs is very heterogeneous, actually, and therefore the policy offer needs to be disaggregated by the NEET category. Now, categorizing the NEETs is not easy. What we have done, actually, we have basically proposed a categorization based on the labor force survey. And following this categorization, we have basically 7 categories. Yes, there are the short and long-term unemployed, those with illness or disability, as well as family responsibility, so they are unavailable for this reason. Then we have the discouraged workers, we have the re-entrants, so those who we have already a contract or an educational opportunity and wait to re-enter. And then those who are NEETs for other reasons, and this is the remaining heterogeneity. So on this basis, if we see the composition of NEETs at the European level, we can see that the short unemployment is the large category with 21%, followed by the 19% of needs that are needs with the family and care responsibilities, not considering, of course, the remaining heterogeneity. Then around 11% is for illness and disability, and so on. Now here we have to basically say just two things. The first is for every member state, the category of family care and responsibility is composed by 91% by young women. So 9 out of 10 needs that is for family responsibility is young women. So if we wanted to find basically to arrive to gender equality, we need to start immediately for young age, actually, for this, because this is an incredible polarization. And the second one is that this is the picture at the European level. If we take the pictures at the member state level, the situation is very different. So, for example, in Italy, we have quite a large category that are the long-term unemployed, actually, because, we have stories of long-term disengagement, while in Nordic countries, the population of long-term unemployed is basically not it's very marginal, actually, it's very low. So each member state has its own composition of needs. Now, to conclude, actually, because I see the time, so the cost of needs. So spending protracted time outside the labor market and education may lead to a wide range of negative social conditions. And we know the future poor unemployment participation, exclusion, disengagement, risk of dangerous lifestyle. These outcomes have each a cost attached to them. So therefore, being a NEET is not just a problem for the individual, but for the society as a whole. And in our studies, basically, we focus on economic and social cost. And here I have just two slides on the cost of needs, the economic cost. I think my computer is really post-test, actually, because it moved by itself. But so what is the loss for the European economies due to our inability to integrating needs into the labor market in 2023? In order to investigate this, basically, we take two quantities. One is forgotten earnings and unpaid taxes, and then is the excess of welfare transfers. So basically, what needs do not produce and earn, and what needs receive more than others do for welfare transfer and so on. And according on these two quantity, which is therefore a very conservative estimation, the cost of needs in 2023 was 121 billion of euro. That correspond of around 0.71% of the European Union GDP, only for these two quantity. If you think that, for example, in 2013, the funds for the youth guarantee were 6 billion, you can see basically the difference between the cost, 121 billion, and the allocation of policies. Now, if you go at the member state level, actually, we see that the countries with a higher cost are Greece and Italy with more than 1.2%, while the lower cost is recorded in Nordic countries like Sweden, Ireland, but also in Bulgaria. The reason is that the foregone earnings and the welfare transfer really varies among member states. So, and this is why there is these differences. Now, and this is my last slides, actually. So the cost of needs across time. When we computed for the first time, the cost of needs for the U27 was 134 billion. So originally it was 153, but we had to deduct the United Kingdom. Then it reached almost 140 billion in 2013, actually, and then it went down, then it go up, and so on. But how much is the cost of not having sorted out the needs problem in the last 10 years? Well, it's huge, actually. It's basically 1,644 billion, which is the sum of the yearly cost for the last 13 years. So this is basically the cost of inactions. Sometimes we talk about social investment. Actually, what are the return of social investment? Where here we see how much it costs not being able to reintroduce young people into the labor market. Clearly, this is a theoretical estimation because Not everyone will like to re-enter in the labor market, or not everyone can. But if only you can reintroduce basically the 10% of young people in the last 10 years, you would have saved 164 billions of euro. That basically the cost of the youth guarantee, but by far, actually. So to conclude, ladies and gentlemen, the future of Europe depends upon the future of its younger population, and I think it's hard not to agree on this. The concept of NEET started in the UK and then went outside beyond the UK borders, reaching all the world, and then it entered in the center of the European policy debates, and we built the youth guarantee around it. The consequences of being NEET are dramatic for the individual, because the situation of marginalization is horrible, but also for the society. And so 1.6 trillion has been the loss of non-integrating needs in the last 10 years. And member states and the EU are right to set the target to reduce needs. However, policy action needs to be tailored for the characteristics of the subgroups, and each member state have to adopt its own strategy, because one size fits none in this case, none for young people, none for the member states. So it is important that it is tailored to the need of the member state and of young people. And with this, thanks a lot. And I will stop sharing, and hopefully my computer will not move again. And if you have questions, I'm here for you.
Thank you very much for this presentation. I haven't seen any questions in the chat, perhaps because we were all thinking about the effects. But if you have any more questions which I have missed, please write them in the chat. But basically, yeah, thank you for this. A bit of historic introduction, an overview of the NEET states and member states, and also the highlights of the critical factors of becoming NEETs, and describing this heterogeneous group. Well, and basically, thank you for reminding us of the importance of our work with NEETs, as exclusion from employment, education, and training really does heavily impact the futures of young people and also the society in general. Will we be able to have a copy of the presentations, please?
Yes, please, of course, no problem. I will send it to you, actually. Absolutely.
Thank you very much. I believe everyone will be really happy to have this. So yes, thank you once again, Massimiliano Mascherini from Eurofound. And we will now continue with our webinar.
Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Lovely presentation. Oh no, he left. Oh, but that was amazing. Really happy to hear that.
Yes, definitely. But he left, but hopefully he will hear what we have said. So let's continue with my colleague Mateja Pacnik-Collins from the Public Employment Service of Slovenia. She will share with you basically what we have done within this project during this semester, so since October 2024 till now. So Mateja, please, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Jana. Hello, everyone. I'll present you with the activities of the semester and analysis of good practices. As I can see, I already shared the link of presentation of international good practices with you. It's in the chat. You can start and take a look at it, or otherwise I will invite you to Mural anyhow, but Jana shared it once again, so you can take a look. It might be easier to follow me as well. Okay, so during this fourth semester, we focus on the topic of training and personalized support to NEETs, as well as their participation in the activation schemes, as it was mentioned before. The aim was to explore measures that are designed for individuals, ensuring continuous support and assistance. These measures are highly personalized based on the understanding that each individual has unique characteristics that require tailored approaches. Moreover, they adopt a holistic perspective, typically addressing multiple areas to ensure a comprehensive support system. These measures offer different pathways for young people, including transitioning from mainstream education to tailored and supported learning, ensuring that they receive the necessary guidance to succeed in the labor market. Activities that we implemented in this fourth semester are The first major activity of the semester was preparation of good practice template, which included the comments for the project partner, and it was also refined based on the feedback from previous semester. Through past experience, we recognized that collecting good practices was more effective when done in a personalized manner via phone calls or online meetings and one-to-one interactions. Many owners of good practices required additional support in structuring and documenting their practices, and this hands-on approach proved to be beneficial as well. Each partner independently reached out to national stakeholders and relevant actors to identify good practices in the field of personalized support to needs. The good practice template was distributed accordingly, allowing stakeholders to contribute examples that are aligned with the topic. Following the collection of good practice templates, in some cases also interviews were conducted with the owners of these practices to gather further details. As a result, project partners identified over 30 good practices related to personalized support to needs. After that, each partner engaged in internal evaluation process to assess the good practices using 7 evaluation criteria approved at the beginning of the project. These are relevance, effectiveness, efficiency, scalability, transferability, sustainability, and innovativeness. Each partner had the opportunity to propose a maximum of 3 national good practices relevant to the semester topic. And the results, through this effort, we identified 16 good practices, which were then further compared and analyzed. These practices were presented during the interregional thematic workshop in November last year, where stakeholders and project partners had the opportunity to ask questions and engage in discussions within their national groups. Some of the good practice owners also presented their approach firsthand. In this final stage, which took place in January, each partner organized a meeting with national stakeholders to gather feedback on the selected practices, and another evaluation process was conducted at this stage to assess the international good practices on the same 7 evaluation criteria as mentioned earlier. To ensure the mutual understanding and clarity, partners were encouraged to engage in discussions about the practices before the steering committee meeting. The steering committee meeting was at the end of January, and its aim was to select 4 best good practices on training and personalized support to needs and participation in the activation schemes. And these practices will be presented today right after my presentation. Now, if someone is not already, I can see a lot of different participants on the mural already. You can click the link and join me on mural, so you will get the better idea about the practices. Each country, maybe to tell at the beginning, each country has its own color, and we divided practices in 5 different groups. I will, just a second, I will also share a screen with you. Yeah, I think it's working. You see the mural? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we divided these practices into 5 different categories. First is competence development, meaning different training programs that develop skills, soft skills, employability skills, and key competences for the labor market. Second is work exposures, meaning different internships, on-the-job training, apprenticeships programs, and dual system learning opportunities. Third is networking or network opportunities, initiatives that provide information about different education and training pathways, including direct contacts with employers. Fourth is coaching, mentoring, or counseling, guidance provided by professionals to help young people identify and monitor individual career plans while offering continuous support throughout the process. And the last one is obtaining qualifications, finishing education, meaning different support programs that enable young people to complete their education or acquire qualifications that align both with their interests and labor market demands. Okay, and now I'll present you the key findings on the good practices. Of course, the primary target group across all practices were NEETs in various age groups, including as well vulnerable youth and young people without qualifications. Some practices also targeted long-term unemployed individuals, inactive youth, and young people still in compulsory education. The organizations implementing these practices were primarily public employment services, followed by different NGOs or regional or local organizations. Some initiatives were youth guarantee measures, while others were pilot projects designed to test new approaches. You can see that where the practice is written as well, if it's a youth guarantee measure or a pilot project, if it's applicable. Most good practices fall into multiple categories, highlighting the importance of a holistic approach that integrates different areas of support to enhance effectiveness. Collaboration between public and private sectors play a crucial role in improving program outcomes, offering young people opportunities to gain practical work experience. Many practices involve partnerships with other stakeholders, including economic actors, educational institutions, and local organizations. And one thing that was really important as well, the significance of building networks and fostering stakeholders' cooperation was evident, reinforcing the need for a collective effort towards supporting NEETs. One thing I forgot to mention before, but I guess you already figured it out. So each category has its own icon, and the practices have different icons that to the categories they belong to. But I guess this was clear anyhow. And to conclude, the collaboration among project partners was excellent and continuous, enabling both partners and stakeholders to gain in-depth knowledge of identified good practices. The process not only helped us to refine our internal collaboration and tools, but also contributed to the broader improvement of support mechanisms for NEETs. So this was all from my side. Thank you for your attention and enjoy the rest of the webinar.
Thank you very much, Mateja, for this really picturesque presentation of what we have been doing. I think that the practices are all very, very valuable. We will now, however, only have a chance to present 4 of the best practices that we have collected. As we have presented all of these practices already in November, we have decided to just spend 5 minutes for each presentation. Of course, not everything will be said in those 5 minutes, but these good practices will also be published at the Interreg Policy Learning platform, and you are all invited to contact the practice owners for more information, especially, of course, if you're considering implementing the practice in your country or maybe improving a measure based on the suggestions that you have gathered here today. So we will now continue with the presentation of these 4 practices. And first, we will present the Intercept project presented by Mr. Antonio never knew how to pronounce it, but I believe Buhagiar, maybe not. A very valuable contributor also to the Network for NEETs project. So, Antonio, if you are here with us, the floor is yours.
Hi, good afternoon. Everyone can hear me, right? Good. It's pronounced Buhagiar this Saturday. So, thanks for the invite. I will present this project, the Intercept project. It was a pilot project led by Jobs Plus Malta with other partners, and it tackled the green jobs and also green skills for NEETs. To start with, I will start with the objective. The Intercept project was funded by the EAA and Norway grants and was designed to tackle youth unemployment for NEETs aged though between 25 to 29 years of age, who are obviously not in education, employment, or training. The focus was specifically on green green jobs, and it tackled both the training aspect, so NEETs would have having specific training on green skills, and also work placement with green employers in order to acquire skills on the job, which will eventually lead to employment. The consortium, it was a collaboration of 9 partners from Malta, Italy, Lithuania, Poland, Slovakia, and Luxembourg. As I said, it was led by Jobs Plus, and some of the partners are also part of this consortium for the Network for NEETs. We had ANGI, AIDIM, and also the Lithuanian PES. The duration of this project was from October 2021 till January 2024. And also, I will specify the key objectives. I will try not to drag so long. So the key objectives, as I said, was supporting needs for green opportunities, also access the labor market gaps for the green transition, which was also highlighted by the EU Council and also by the European Green Deal. Also the specification of the training and the work experience, and also the influence on policy enhancement within European institutions. So the program, the whole project, it had various components. However, the main components were the research and insights. There was a comprehensive analysis to identify the skills required for green jobs, and this was done with employers. And also there was a specific study on needs in order to identify the trends, needs, and also opportunities. And this was specifically done in relation to Malta, Italy, and Lithuania, because these were the 3 countries that then implemented the pilot in order to offer training and work placement. From that, moving on, there was the development of a 25-hour training program. So it was a micro program which was offered to the participants. And this training program was offered between the 3 countries. It was the same training program. And there was also development of a 40-hour training program. However, this was for the best staff from Italy, Malta, and Lithuania that were dealing with the participants and support them in order to have more overview about green jobs and the green transition, so that they could offer the best service to the participants. So the work placement consisted of around 240 hours, which is around 3 months. And also participants were offered a financial support in order to reduce financial barrier. Following that, this would lead obviously for career empowerment to NEETs. In fact, from the project, there was many individuals who had quite significant jobs, for example, in AI traffic analytics, NFC technology, recycling, etc. So to give you key outcomes of this project, basically there was activation participation of around 242 NEETs, with activation rates of 16.12% in Malta, 18.59% in Italy, and 65.29% in Lithuania. Also from those participating, from the 242, 105 participants secured jobs and also pursued further training. Obviously this, after there was a concrete evaluation in parallel with the training program, in the pilot, it emerged that the program reduced unemployment rate by 10 to 12% points compared to the control group. Also, the training program for NEETs, the 25-hour training program in Malta, was accredited and it's at a QF level 3 with 2 SCTSs. Also, employers were collaborated mostly within this project and with the partners, and for them also it was an awareness that they were already maybe contributing for the green transition, or they were leading to offer or changing jobs in order to abide by the new policies and regulations. As I said, there was a thorough evaluation. It was done both in parallel to the intervention and also after. Some evidence of success that highlights this good practices, the flexibility in design. Given that there was parallel evaluation being conducted, the feedback that was received by the participants helped Malta, Italy, and Lithuania to adapt quickly and also be flexible in the intervention being offered. To give you some examples, for example, in Lithuania, they offered allowances, transport allowances for participants to go from rural areas to the city to work. In Malta, for example, we combined the free public childcare so that parents who were not employed could use this facility. And also we tested higher rates because we were receiving complaints that the allowance was not adequate to today's standard, although it was below or higher than the national minimum wage. And also, for example, in Italy, the training was done as self-study training, which was pre-recorded and was offered for participants to do it at their own pace. So as you can see, there was the scalability. The program has been effective and it was tested in 3 different European countries. So that's a very good approach. And also, I think that's why it has been selected as one of the good practices for this project. Also, it's important to highlight that the Intercept project was also selected as a good practice by CEDEFOP and Euroguidance. I will share also the links with further information on that. And to conclude, basically, is that through this project, after the evaluation, guidelines were developed for other EU institutions and other European countries for them to help them adopt the same pilot and take on the lessons learned from there. I will share the 3 links to link the Euroguidance, the CEDEFOP, and also the Intercept project website, where you have all the information, reports, and everything of this intervention. So that's all from my side, and I don't know if you have any questions. I try to be fast.
Thank you, Antonio. Thank you very much. I don't think there are any questions. Thank you for the links already, also that are in chat, and thank you for taking the time and visiting us once again. No, I don't think there are any questions, but if there will be, refer them to the Jobs Plus Malta for further information, discussions, potential of transfer. So thanks again, Antonio. We will now continue with the next practice coming from Slovenia. We will be presenting the personalized supports in the Project Learning for Young Adults project. The presentation will be done by Ms. Nastja Merc from the Adult Education Center of Radovljica. So Nastja, if you
Hello,
may.
can you hear me? Yeah, we have some technical problems today, so I
understood. I am sorry. I understood. I was speaking and I was silent, and you did not hear what I said, right?
I hear you. I hear
you
you.
did.
I just asked
Okay.
if you hear me, because nothing works today, it seems. I would just like to put a PowerPoint on. I'm not sure how.
Yes, you did it. So
yes, I did it.
You did it. You see the whole PowerPoint, not just the presentation, but we get
like this
message.
Great.
Well,
Okay.
Yes.
No, the other part of the, now we have the opombe and stuff.
Okay, no, so this is not
the other screen.
Can I just leave it like this? Does it bother you?
Yes.
Yeah?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Okay, so my colleague Monica was supposed to be here today, but she got sick. So my name is Nastja. I'm working in the project learning for young adults for 16 years here in Radovljica. And I would just like to tell you, I think all of you heard a lot of things about the program already before in these sessions. So I will just briefly tell you something about the program. The program was developed by Slovenian Institute for Adult Education with the purpose of the holistic approach towards solving the problem of dropping out of regular school and for youngsters who are unemployed. So it's designed for youngsters aged between 15 and 29 years who dropped out of school. Who dropped out of school system or unemployed. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry we have youngsters here, so one of them just got in. The program takes place every working day. There are up to 24 participants in the group, and in our program there are 4 mentors right now, but usually there are 3 mentors. The main goal is to motivate youngsters to continue education or get a job. So we work. Okay. We work by different methods with the youngsters. So I will just briefly tell you which methods do we use, because in individual program, all of the methods combine, and all of them are really important. So the individual support is holistic and good for the youngsters. So we do a lot of project work, which means that we do a lot of films, theater, music, newspapers. Every year we present ourselves, our program, and the youngsters present themselves in the local environment with this, with the theater or the music or the fashion shows that we make. So we do that for approximately half of the year. The participants are divided into different groups based on their interests, and we help them to find their talents, their strengths. So that is the point that that is the starting point that the mentor then can help them to involve. We also do a lot of productional work. That means that we get to know different professions, that we invite people with interesting professions to present their work. We help them to find internship with employers. Also, we do a lot of activities of interests. We do cooking, preventional workshops, creative activities, employment workshops, work jobs, job interview stimulations. And if we have a chance, we also travel a lot. We do a lot of youth exchanges. That also is one method that I think youngsters get a lot from it. But today, I would like to tell you something more about individual support within the program. One of the working methods, and I think it's really important and also the base of everything, is individual work. Individual work is something that we do with the youngsters to make an individual plan, guiding, consulting, and also if they are enrolled in school, learning help. We help them make career plans, help them create CV and job applications. We also cooperate a lot with employment service, local and national. So we help the youngster in the first place to get motivated to search their interests, and then later on a job or a profession or finish school. At first, when the youngster comes, we establish a relationship with the participant. And then as we get to know him, we usually establish a relationship with him by doing an interview in which we get to know him, so we can learn what he needs and what are his strong and what are his weak points. And as we learn to know what is he good in, that is the strengthening point for mentor to start working with the youngster. Through all of 5 methods, we can support the youngster to discover and later also develop his strong points, find his interests and talents. And I think that's the most important thing, that then we know where to guide him to find a job or a profession, or in which school would he enroll. So it is really important that we are there for the youngster, that we are there from the beginning until the end when he finishes our program. When he leaves our program, he goes to school, or he goes to, or we help him find a job. And it's really important that also in the beginning, the youngsters that come here have a lot of unsolved problems. they deal with mental health, they deal with addiction, they have tough situations at home like violence or abuse. So it's really important that first we try to solve them, and it's really important that first we support them in that area, because when they try to solve that, they're more confident than to get into the job market or to enroll in school and finish school. So I think that's from our side. It could be everything. It was really short and really pointed. So if you have any questions, please.
Thank you. For now, I again see no questions in the chat, but if some will arise, then we will forward them to you, and we will of course connect you. The good practice will also be described at the platform, so I believe that you will be able to get the information you need. So now we will continue with the third good practice, or the best practice. I'm always confused with this good and bad practice, this good and best practices. But this practice is definitely an interesting one. It's coming from Lithuania and will be presented by Mr. Aivaras Pranarauskas. Hopefully it was at least close to what the surname should be pronounced like. So Skills Lab. Aivaras, go ahead.
Okay, thanks. Can you see my slides?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so I will tell you about a camp that is designed for vulnerable youth and social partners from across the country helps to form the group, to find and to select participants. And the youth travels to a rural homestead. There they spend an entire month. And each group consists of 10 participants. And this camp specializes and accepts youth that might have some criminal record or investigation going on or under probation service. It doesn't mean that all 10 participants have some sort of issues, but one or two from the group might be with this background. So the camp is staffed with 2 free in-house trainers who live together, and they are responsible for a first part of the day. And the first part of the day is dedicated to learning, self-improvement, developing social skills. And the second part of the day is focused on hands-on practical activities, and young people work with wood, metal, or engage in other crafts. And the second part of the day is moderated by volunteers. And the content might vary depending on the camp, depending on the volunteers, the season, or the specific needs of the group. So they live in the premises that are owned by NGO, but they also take care of those premises. They might adjust something, they might fix something in those premises. They take care, they clean everything, they help to prepare food and all the other things. They have their own daily routine, they accept for their own rules, responsibilities, and it's not only volunteers and in-house trainers. Additionally, if needed, all participants, they are referred to specialists such as psychologists or lawyer. And it's also worth mentioning that their family members can also receive support. So they have an opportunity to work in a nearby farm if the help is needed there. They are very flexible in choosing the activities. I was told that once a motorcycle enthusiast volunteered in the camp, brought his bike, explained how it works, how it should be serviced. So as I said, the content might vary in every camp. The basic conception is that they are trying to keep informal communication. Everything is based on voluntary participation. They are learning to collaborate, to solve problems together, to make decisions together, work together. Also, as the group is very small, they get enough attention, every person. So it's very specialized, and they have enough time for to spot individuality of each participant. Youth learns to reflect their experience. As I said, they are referred to some other specialists if needed, usually to the municipality institutions or some other agencies. It's a safe environment, and the goal is to help to adapt to working routine. Because they have activities for 8 hours a day, it aims to teach them discipline, responsibility, and communication skills, and to prepare them to enter employment or further education. The camp price is about 2,100 euros, and it's financed from various funds. They have a plan for 5 groups for this year, and they said that once the camp is over, the in-house trainers, they need like a few weeks to rest and few weeks to prepare for the next group. So that would be a short introduction of Skills Lab. If you have any questions, you're very welcome.
Thank you, Avaras. There again are no questions, but you already know what you have to do if you have them. So as we are a little bit late on the timeline, we will continue with a very short presentation of the last practice coming from Slovenia, and it will also be delivered by me. So I'm quite happy to make a short presentation, and then we will move on to NEET for NEET presentation of the good practice at the end. So I will just shortly share the screen with you to get some visual feedback for my presentation. I hope you can see it. I believe you do. So basically, I will be presenting the ALMA initiative. This is a European initiative that is not only being carried out in Slovenia, but also in some other countries. We know for Malta for sure that they have been executing this initiative. In Slovenia, the public employment services, we are implementing the program. Basically, we have presented as good practice the so-called National Mobility Scheme, which has been taking place since 2017 to 2022, because we already have some good results. We know that it is a good practice. We're not just thinking that it might become, but we are naming it ALMA just because it's easier to understand what we're talking about. The project coordinator, Anna Klinar, she has been presenting the practice and would have given a much better and insightful journey into it. However, I have been job shadowing on the National Mobility Scheme for some time, so I think I will be up for the job. Basically, the aim of this program is to integrate young NEETs, especially those who are long-term unemployed, who are facing some complex social economic challenges, to integrate them into the labor market within a 6-month mentoring program. And this mentoring program also includes real work experience gained in a foreign country. Basically, as I said, the Public Employment Services within the US project is also carrying out the ALMA initiative. The duration of the pilot project that which results I am presenting today, was since 2017-2022. It started implementing in 2016. But we are now continuing with the ALMA initiative. So we have a project ongoing, and that's why Anna couldn't join us, because she's in the field gathering new candidates. So the target group is a bit different. We have decided to launch the target group for long-term unemployed, but who are younger than 35. So it's not only up to 30, but still 35. Basically, the average age for the participants is 27 to 28. So for those of you who are not familiar with the program, it's basically a 3-component program. In the first stage, so there's the preparation for mobility. It lasts 2 months. We call it the activation phase. There's a lot of work with participants, a lot of mental work, coaching work, workshops, language workshops to prepare them for mobility. In case of Slovenia, we have transnational partners from Germany. And so the participants are like preparing themselves on various levels to go to this mobility. And within this part, within these 2 months, it's also up to us, and it's a very difficult task, to provide adequate working opportunities. So adequate working environment that is somehow very close to what young people wish to be doing. It can be very, very challenging, because you can have people who want to work in, I don't know, in the art field, and it can get very tricky. Also, if they are planning on working with children, then language is, of course, a must. So it's very challenging, but we are doing our best with our partners from Germany. So in the second stage, young people actually go to this other country, in our case, Germany, where they have this work-related experience. So during the week, they go to the workplace, they meet new people, they start contributing to the role, and during the weekends they have leisure time, and they can spend time with other participants or spend time on their own. Here again, mentor support is very important. They have mentors both from Slovenia and from Germany, because especially for those who are long-term unemployed, who have maybe never been abroad alone, it's a very, very out of their comfort zones experience. So mentor support and also peer-to-peer support, as it later on proves to be, is very valuable. So here, this team spirit really does the difference. And so in the first stage, we also have some team building activities, and they are very, very good and very valuable later on. And then in the third stage, so after the 2 months that they spend abroad, they come back, and we try to take as much of these 2 working months as possible. So we evaluate the mobility, we focus on the experience gained, we try to implement this into the how young people will use it to better integrate into the labor market. And we also have some coaching sessions, some workshops, so it really is helpful. Well, basically, like the key takeaways for these participants that they always report is that they get to know themselves better. They start seeing themselves in different surroundings. They have this feeling of how to set good goals for themselves, both for the career and life. So they have the feeling that they can actively do something to change their lives. They build self-confidence because, you know, if I was able to do this, then I'm able to do almost anything. They build this I can do it attitude. They, of course, gain work experience, which is also helpful, and this experience of getting outside their comfort zones. What Anna really encouraged me to point out, and she's saying that all the time, So at this time, so 2016, 2022, the labor market was very different. So long-term unemployed were not necessarily with very, very complex issues, because the long-term unemployed young people that we are dealing with today have much more complex issues. So from anxiety to complex economic situations to what's it called now? So addiction. So there's a lot of these problems that are now really also implementing how the program takes place. But basically, if we take a look, 66% of participants acquired job-specific skills, 80% improved their social skills, 89% achieved personal growth goals that they have set at the beginning, and 83% achieved language proficiency goals. What we have to point out, we have a small team. We have really, really well-equipped mentors with a very wide range of knowledge. Of course, it's really important to set a mobility plan, because if you don't have a clear plan, then you don't know what to assess, and also young people don't know where to go. We have to focus not just on the personal part, but actually on these on building these occupational skills, because at the end, this is something that they can show to the employers, and it can really help them to boost their employability. So that was it from my side. If you have more questions, feel free to contact me, or I will refer you to Anna Klinar, with the coordinator of the program, but it will also be described as all the previous practices. So now I will take a deep breath and present the final speaker for today's webinar. We have been looking, me and Matea, for some good practices on NEET throughout Europe, and we have been reading a lot and checking out a lot of things. And at one point, we came to the description of a good practice that really inspired us, and we wanted to share that with you. And Mr. Jonas Abrahamsson was kind enough to join us in his tight schedule to present us the NEET for NEETs project. So the lessons that they have learned, and maybe the key takeaways that they share with us. So Jonas, thank you for joining us, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Speaking about a tight schedule, how much time do I got? Like 3 minutes, or what's the deal?
No, we will just take the time that you have predicted, and we will hope that everyone will stay within this. And if somebody needs to leave, well, we apologize. We wanted to share as much as possible, and that's the result.
Okay, I will try to make it a bit shorter, so we respect other people's tight schedules. We're a lot of people with tight schedules these days, I imagine. And it's very good, because today I'm very resilient towards stress, since I had this very strange dream this night. I just need to tell you. Sorry for taking time for telling about my dreams. They are not very interesting all the time. But this night I had a really interesting dream. Because 9 years ago, I was doing my internship in Skopje in North Macedonia. So it was very nice to hear you in the beginning of this meeting before everyone came. You were like Stravo, Slišesti, all these nice phrases that I remember. And in my dream, I was bicycling to North Macedonia to have this speech. And I started in Italy. So in Slovenia, actually, I was like, well, it might be a bit stressful now. I might not make it in time to. So I woke up very stressed, and I can continue in that pace that I woke up this morning with. So that's good. Thank you for letting me share this dream with you. Very interesting speeches and projects that we've heard today. I'm super happy to participate and hear about this. Also, Aivaras, your initiative in Lithuania was really interesting. I might need to have a word with you afterwards. We are thinking about something similar, to have a month of like very intense time with NEETs, because the issue is serious. I mean, as we heard from the keynote speaker today, very good lecture, I thought. I was fascinated that Sweden has the least money expended, like expenses, that the financial consequences of NEETs are the least in Sweden. However, there are not only financial consequences. Unfortunately, I don't know how much you know about what happens in Sweden, but this was a very big thing that happened just a week ago. It was this student who has been a NEET now for 15 years, and 15 years after not making it in school, he had to he didn't finalize his grades or anything. He was obviously so frustrated, so he took like a machine gun almost to school, and it was the biggest assault in Swedish history. 10 people got killed in his school. This happened just 1 or 2 weeks ago in a small town called Örebro in Sweden, and it's I think that shows the alarmity of the situation of people in society not feeling included, and who are not living up to the standards of society, and the wounds that people feel when they are not able to make it in school, and when they are not able to enter the labor market, and when they feel like society is not for me. So the consequences are not only financially, it's very much social and a security issue here in Sweden now. Everybody talks about it. So the issue of NEETs have become really alarming in Sweden the last 2 weeks. So why am I talking about this? Who am I? What am I doing? I work with public education in Sweden. There's a Nordic model, a way of doing non-formal education that we've been doing here in the Nordic countries for 150 years. It's called folk high school. So I work with folk high schools. I'm gonna actually share my presentation with you guys now. And I might be doing like a presentation for 5 more minutes or so you know the time frame here. So yeah, you see here, it's the region Västra Götaland. The biggest city in Västra Götaland is Gothenburg. I don't know how much you know about Sweden. I don't know that much about Slovenia, for example. I know Ljubljana and stuff, but that's like where my knowledge ends. So I don't expect you to know that much about Sweden, but Gothenburg is the second biggest city in Sweden. It's located in Västra Götaland. And yeah, I work at the administration of folk high schools in the region Västra Götaland. And we decided to come up with a project that we called NEETs for NEETs, since we felt we've been to many conferences, you know, where there have been like great videos and presentations about the progressions of youngsters being in that project. Like Peter managed to get a job, and Masoud managed to finalize his studies and stuff like that. But we noticed that, well, these youngsters, they move on in life with their future endeavors, but who are left? It's basically us, the staff, who are meeting these people all the time. Maybe we should start a project that focuses on us and the progression of us, because we are the ones who are gonna stay, you know? So we felt like maybe NEETs could help us in progress in how we deal with these issues in order to help the future generation of NEETs. So basically the idea was to let's see if I can change slide here. I'm sorry. Yes. So yeah, there were a lot of different partners. It was financed by Erasmus Plus, and we were partners from Germany, Belgium, Norway, and Sweden. And the idea was to travel among these countries to carry out 6 tools for empowerment. We call them React tools. Don't ask me why, because I don't have time. But 2 of those tools were forum, theater, and storytelling. And these are the tools that I would like to talk about because they were amazing tools. Please send me an email if you want more info about these tools. In short, maybe you know about storytelling already, but in short, forum theater is about playing, like performing scenarios of things that happened in your life that wasn't really nice, and try to solve those scenarios together in groups. And yeah, NEETs were able to present terrible meetings with teachers, with job counselors, with social workers, to kind of give us like an aha moment. Like, okay, yeah, maybe we shouldn't talk like that in the future. Maybe, oh, I had such a meeting and I thought that meeting was great. Now I see that might be a power dissonance in that meeting that creates trauma or whatever, you know. So yeah, it was a really aha moment sometimes when we were doing these forum theater sessions. And you can see here on the numbers, some NEETs were being trained, staff were being trained. Now we have been training each other with some training concepts. So more staff have been trained after the project, which is good. And yeah, we created a handbook, 80 pages long. I don't know if anyone have read it, but it's there on the web if you want to read 80 pages someday in your life. Otherwise, we have good videos and stuff. And send me an email and I'll explain more. Yeah, that was it. And the best practices from this project, I guess, was that we really had to understand that we need to change ourselves, and the painful process of changing your own perspectives. And yeah, I have been very humbled by embarking this journey, joining this project. It was a lot of painful aha moments embedded in this project. Let's see if I have something more to say here in my notes. It's very important to have a frame when it comes to co-creation. And I'm super happy that we had such a frame in this project. Like, you are gonna teach us about what a good meeting is and what a bad meeting is. And you know, the frame was set, and then the content within that frame was very easy to co-create. So yeah, I know that there have been progress within the staff members who participated in this project. I'm done now. Thank you so much for listening.
Well, thank you, Jonas. Well, we will definitely be sharing those 80 pages with the attendees of the webinar. But as you have said so nicely, actually, painful moments are the moments of growth, and active listening is the key to success. So thank you very much for sharing your insights, some related to the project and some related to the importance of the topic itself.
And sorry, I need to highlight one thing, because I don't want to throw the baby with the bathwater, as I think you say in English. Like, there are good to have movies and presentations about the progress of NEETs as well. I'm not saying that's bad, but we wanted to complement with the progress of staff as well.
Because it is definitely NEETs. It encourages us to change all the time, because with the target group changes, we're also changing. That's also very important. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you to all the speakers today. Thank you for everyone who have joined and attended and has been interested in the topic. And hopefully we will contribute our little bits and pieces into this, this puzzle of the NEETs issue and improve our work for them and the policies that we have. So that's it for today. If somebody would like to say something, now is the time. I will be quiet for 2 seconds, and if not, I would just say thank you. Yes, go on.
Hi, thank you for that, Jonas and Jana and Matea. Just a reminder that to send in your feedback for the midterm review by the 24th of February, because I need to put together the information so that as much as possible we have all the answers that they're looking for. I had sent you a template to fill out, so if you could sort of send me that back ASAP, it would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, this is for the project partners, not for all the rest. So the rest of you, don't worry, it was free.
I figured that out. I won't send anything.
No, don't worry. Thank you all, and have a good day. And yes, that's it for today. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.